and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Ashley U once again, and it's the quarterfinals of the Champions League and Europa League European competitions as we head towards the business end of both. And 8 teams in both competitions will be dreaming of at least reaching the finals in Istanbul and Gdansk respectively, and hoping for European glory at the end of the season. I'm sure it's going to be a very dramatic conclusion to both competitions, and we start off with the first legs of the quarterfinals in both competitions this week, which I'll preview here, and then at the end I'll give my predictions for each as well. Hope you enjoy this video as always. So first up on Tuesday night, it's the quarterfinals of the Champions League, first legs. First up, it's Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund. City are heavy favourites to go through given their superior league form. Currently look like they're going to win the title. They only need 4 more victories. As for Borussia Dortmund, well, they're struggling to even finish in the top 4 of the Bundesliga and trying to get themselves into next season's competition. And if that doesn't happen for them, it could be a real disaster, particularly if they lose the likes of Haaland and Sancho over the summer to big clubs. And it's going to be a real blow for them in terms of where they want to be as a club. So this is a real test for them against arguably the favourites to win the Champions League, who are still on course to win the quadruple of the Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup and the Champions League as well. So it's not going to be easy at all for Dortmund, but if Haaland's on form, then he might trouble City a few times in the first leg at the Etihad, but I get the feeling that this could be City's time, that they break that barrier of getting through that quarter-final stage and moving through to the semi-finals. So in this first leg at home, I think City will be well in control of this contest. I don't think Dortmund's defence is good enough to contain what City have going forward, and I get the feeling that it might be a very difficult night for Dortmund, and at the end a very difficult task to try and claw this tie back at the Westfalenstadion next week. So I think this can be a really comfortable evening for City. So I'm going for a 3-1 Manchester City win. I think Dortmund will have enough to score at least one away goal, but it's just a matter of how many they can keep out at the other end, and given how poor they've been defensively all season, doesn't really look like they'll keep City's attack in check for most of this contest. So I'm going for a City win, and I think that advantage might be enough to see them through to the semi-finals. So yeah, 3-1 to City for me. And then the other tie on Tuesday night is a very tantalising one. Real Madrid against Liverpool, a repeat of the 2018 final in Kiev, which Madrid won 3-1, to claim their 13th and last European title, and European Champions Club Cup title, should I say. And I said in my predictions after the draw that Real Madrid would go through, mainly because of the fact that Liverpool's defence has been injury ravaged all season. They've got a very inexperienced backline with the likes of Nathan Phillips and Ozan Kabak in there, and maybe the only chance really of getting through this tie is through their attack with the likes of Mane, Salah, Firmino and Diogo Jota as well, who's come back into form following his injury. So it's going to be a really interesting one, this, particularly the fact that Real Madrid are without Sergio Ramos and Rafael Varane for this first leg as well, given they're injured and have tested positive for COVID. So this really is Liverpool's opportunity to try and gain some sort of advantage heading back into the second leg at Anfield. And I think with Real Madrid's defence, they've struggled a bit this season to really keep goals out at the back, and even though they've tightened up of late, I still think that Liverpool's attack will give them one or two problems. So this could be a very high scoring game between two sides who like to attack but struggle to defend. And I think for Liverpool, even a narrow defeat with an away goal or two might be considered a good result for them, given the second leg is at Anfield. But obviously with no crowd at Anfield, it's going to be slightly more difficult for them than they wanted. So perhaps they prefer getting some sort of result or victory in this one, in this first leg, to give themselves something to hold on to for the second. And I think they'll have enough to do just that. I think they've picked up form of late, beating Arsenal very convincingly at the weekend. And even though Real Madrid won their game as well, they're still in the fight to try and win the La Liga title. So would they prioritise winning another Champions League over that as well? So it's a difficult one for Zidane and his men. But as for Liverpool, all their eggs are effectively in this basket. I know they're still in the race for the top four and trying to get in the Champions League through that way, but maybe this could be their opportunity to end what has been a difficult season for them on a high and win a 7th European Cup. So it's going to be interesting to see how both sides approach this one, but I'm going for a very entertaining 2-2 draw, because I think Liverpool and Real Madrid will have enough to score at least a couple of goals each with their attacks. And then moving on to Wednesday night, it's the big one, Bayern Munich against Paris Saint-Germain at the Allianz Arena. It's a repeat of the 2019 of last season's Champions League final, should I say, which Bayern Munich won. And going into this tie, with the form of the two sides, they'll be heavy favourites to get through, given how poor PSG have been of this season, both domestically and in the Champions League as well. I know they got through their group quite well, but they lost 2 of their opening 3 group games, and even though they beat Barcelona convincingly in the last 16, in the second leg we saw how defensively vulnerable they were, and had Barcelona had their shooting boots on, they could have turned that tie around. So questions still remain about Paris Saint-Germain's potential to win the Champions League, which is their holy grail, and against a very strong Bayern Munich side who, without Lewandowski, still managed to win their game at the weekend against Leipzig. You just wonder how... Is it a case of how much PSG can keep the score down to give themselves something to cling on to for the second leg, or will they try and go on attack and maybe score an away goal or two? But you get the feeling that either way they've got to tighten up defensively, otherwise Bayern Munich could put a real number of them, and the tie could be over before the second leg next week. So they've got to be careful in that sense. And even though Bayern Munich don't have Robert Lewandowski in for both legs of this tie, I still think they'll have enough to beat a PSG side who, as I said, have not been great this season, but they'll look to do better in Europe under Pochettino. And I get the feeling that PSG could maybe trouble Bayern Munich in 1 or 2 areas, but Bayern Munich will give trouble to PSG in pretty much every area, given they're so strong. So I think Bayern Munich will have to take the advantage in this tie, and maybe that could be enough to send them through to the semi-finals. So I'm going for a 3-1 Bayern Munich win in this one. And then final tie on Wednesday night is Porto against Chelsea. Porto not really expected to be this far in the competition, having knocked out Juventus in the last round. Chelsea comfortably dispatched of a good Atletico Madrid side who are top of La Liga, so they'll be confident heading into this one. But as we saw at the weekend, we saw how vulnerable they were defensively once again, especially after Thiago Silva was sent off. So questions will remain as to how good enough Chelsea can be to win this season's competition. And up until that defeat at the weekend against West Brom, they didn't concede a goal at all at Stamford Bridge since Thomas Tuchel took over. So it was a real shock, that, and you wonder, it'll be interesting to see how they respond in this one. But even if you think that they might suffer a narrow defeat or might get a draw, you still think Chelsea will be expected to go through against the Porto side who are struggling domestically. I know they're second, but they're some way off the leaders, Sporting Lisbon. So maybe they could put their eggs in the Champions League basket as well. But given the side, given the quality of players they have in their side, I'm not really sure they're good enough to go all the way. So I think Chelsea will prevail over the two legs, but I think they might actually get a victory in this first leg as well, which will put them a step closer to the last four. So, but it won't be easy. Porto have a very strong home record in Europe, particularly in the Champions League, and you expect them to make it very difficult for Chelsea. But I think the Blues will have enough to get a victory in this one, which would put them well on their way to the semi-finals. So I'm going for a 2-1 Chelsea win. And then moving on to the Thursday night games in the Europa League, where we have 4 quarterfinals all kicking off at 8 o'clock UK time. And first up, it's Arsenal against Slavia Prague at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal are slight favourites to progress given their superior European pedigree over their Czech counterparts. But as Slavia have shown in this season's competition, they are no mugs, particularly given the fact they've knocked out 2 British clubs en route to the quarterfinals in Leicester City and Rangers, both after winning the second legs away from home. So it's going to be expected to be a very difficult evening for Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. And but this is all they've got to play for, really, given the fact they're in mid-table in the Premier League. They can't really make the top 4, and they're out of all the other cup competitions as well. So this is really their only chance for silverware this season. And against the Slavia Prague side, who are comfortably at the top of their domestic league, maybe they can focus all their eggs on the Europa League basket. And hope that Slavia Prague still have unfinished business in their Czech domestic league as well. But I don't think they'll be taking that for granted, so it won't be an easy tie this for Arsenal. I still think they'll have enough to get some sort of advantage heading into the second leg in the Czech Republic as well. So it'll be close, but I think Arsenal will win this one just. So I'm going for a 2-1 Arsenal victory. Then the other British side left in the Europa League are Manchester United, while the odds bookies favourites to win this season's competition, having dropped down from the Champions League at the group stage, and they've got a very favourable tie against the Granada side, who are in the Europa League for the very first time. But they'll not be easy opponents, having beaten the likes of Napoli and PSV to get this far in the competition, and they'll be looking to cause Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side a problem or two. But Manchester United's superior European pedigree and experience in this competition should make them have enough to get through no matter how many problems they have. So I think that United will have enough given their superior quality over the 2 legs, and I think this tie will be done before the second leg at Old Trafford as well, given the fact that Granada's domestic form of late has really slipped, and they don't really look like they have enough within them to go any further in this competition. So I'm going for a 3-1 Manchester United win, which should put them well on their way to the semi-finals of the Europa League. And then the other 2 ties that are taking place on Thursday night. First up, it's more tantalising tie between Ajax and Roma. Ajax are flying high domestically, top of their domestic league, and look like they're going to win it. I think they're 8 points clear of second place, so it looks like they're with a game in hand actually as well. So it looks like they're going to win the title. But for Roma, they've slipped off the pace slightly in Serie A as they try to get in the top 4 of that division, and with it a place in next season's Champions League. But the fact they haven't won their last 3 games in that league means that they could focus all their eggs on the Europa League basket as well. So
it'll be interesting to see how both sides approach this tie as well, given the fact that Ajax would also like to add another European trophy to their rich history as a football club. And both teams have got very good players as well. Ajax have the likes of Dusan Tadic and Sebastian Haller, amongst others, whilst Roma have Edin Dzeko, Henrik Mkhitaryan and Pedro as well. So, interesting tie this one. I said in my predictions following the draw that Roma will go through given their superior European experience in their side. I actually think that Ajax will have enough about them to in some sort of advantage heading into the second leg in Rome. So I'm actually going to go for an Ajax 2-1 win, which should set up a very interesting second leg. And then the final tie on Thursday night is Dinamo Zagreb against Villarreal in Croatia. Dinamo Zagreb were not expected to get this far, having drawn Tottenham in the last 16, but the way they managed to pull the tie back from the first leg and win the tie as well means that they'll be confident of causing another upset against the Villarreal side who have picked up form domestically under Unai Emery, who is also a specialist in this competition in winning this competition as well, having won it 3 times when the manager of Sevilla as well. So Villarreal will be favourites to get through to the semi-finals, but don't rule out Dinamo Zagreb, who have been very strong at home in this season's competition. They don't concede a lot of goals, and it'll be interesting to see how they can cope against this Villarreal attack, which has the likes of Gerard Moreno and Alcacer in their side as well. So, interesting tie this one, but I actually think that Dinamo Zagreb will gain an advantage heading into the second leg in Spain, and it won't be by much actually, given how good Villarreal's defence has been of late. So I'm actually going to go for a 1-0 Dinamo Zagreb win, which would set up a very tantalising second leg in Spain as well. But I still think Villarreal over the 2 legs will progress as well, as I say. And that's it for my preview for all of this week's European games, both in the Champions League and in the Europa League as well. It's heading towards the latter stages in both competitions in Europe, and it'll be interesting to see which teams take a step towards making the semi-finals and maybe realising their dream of European glory this season. So it's going to be a very thrilling finish to both competitions, and I look forward to seeing how it all unfolds. I'm sure you will as well. So hope you enjoy watching my videos as always. Hope you enjoy watching what I've got to say about the latest stories in football. And hopefully I'll produce similar content, if not better, on this channel in the next few weeks and months. So stay tuned on this channel for now, and I'll have my reaction to all of this week's European ties at the end of this week. So stay tuned for that. And I hope you all have a good day as usual. Hope you all have had a great Easter holiday as well. And look forward to seeing what I've got to say later this week. So, as always, it's great to see you all. And I look forward to seeing you all soon at the end of the week. I'm out of it.